Hello and welcome to Talk Africa. I'm Beatrice Marshall, coming to you from Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. We are here to explore the vibrant and evolving Ethiopian art scene. Ethiopia's rich cultural heritage has always been a source of artistic inspiration, and today its art scene is flourishing more than ever. From traditional influences to contemporary art, Ethiopian artists are making their mark both locally and internationally. Now, Adis Fine Art Gallery serves as a key platform in this movement, showcasing the diverse and powerful voices of Ethiopian artists. To understand more about this dynamic art scene, I'll be speaking with one of the gallery's co-founders who will share how they are helping to bring Ethiopian art to the world stage. Joining me now is Masai Hailelul, co-founder of Addis Fine Art. Masai, thank you for joining us today. What inspired you to start Addis Fine Art?
I got into this with my co-founder. Her name is Rakib Sille. She and I had this interesting meeting that we shared when she came to visit me in Los Angeles. I used to live in Los Angeles. She and I, really knew from the get-go that the participation of Ethiopian artists or artists, from especially East Africa in the international art arena, the market and whatnot, was very limited. We were not really that present. I used to have a gallery in Los Angeles, and that's how Rakib found, me and what I was doing, and she was in London with her family, and professionally she was a consultant, but she also discovered that when she went to these fairs and whatnot, she wasn't seeing a lot of Ethiopian artists. So she looked for me, she came to Los Angeles, we had a meeting, and we really wanted to do something about this, and we decided that we should set up a gallery here and create this link for Ethiopian artists from here to the outside world, so that we can show their works, we can sell their works, and they will be part of the international art dialogue rather than just be limited here in Ethiopia. So that's how we got into this initially.
Yeah, so you've been taking the Ethiopian artists outside of the borders of Ethiopia, but inside Ethiopia itself, is there a vibrant art scene?
Well, I mean, I've been in this, for over 25 years now. So my experience has been that, from where it was to where we are today, yes, definitely, there's a lot more Ethiopians that are interested in going to the galleries, visiting art studios, and buying works. Now, is that enough? I don't think so. Art appreciation still is not, big here, simply because, growing up, in Ethiopia, we don't really engage, kids to really be involved in the arts, and art education is somewhat limited. So for that reason, the awareness is not as rich as some other places, even here on the continent. So is it changing? Is it evolving? Yes. Is it enough? No. We have some ways to go.
So you initially had a gallery in Los Angeles, but you're also showcasing some mid-level, mid-career artists in the London space. Talk to us about that.
The London space has been our main space where we did all our international programming. And that space had allowed us to not only just work with artists that are here on the continent, but there are artists that have been working with us that live in the US, some live in Europe. So that really made it easy for us to broaden our engagement internationally. So if somebody wants to come, from Paris to London, or just London or from New York to London. You know, our presence there was fantastic. That, you know, that really helped, especially, you know, like you said, the mid-level artists that have been working with us, because, you know, they've done well here, but without that engagement outside of Ethiopia, it wasn't enough. Now that we even have increased our participation, you know, in big affairs and other galleries, that will strengthen, you know, the work that we're trying to do. So I think a lot of the artists that are in the later stage of their career, I think they will definitely benefit, you know, from, you know, what we're planning for them in the future.
So you've talked throughout this interview about how, let's say, Ethiopian artworks is still appreciation of it is still very nascent, still very early stages. So what is your thought on African artists and white critics, and what is being done to change that?
We have to take control of the narratives. We have to take ownership of that. You know, we cannot just have others, you know, speak for us. So the challenge is, you know, yes, we have great artists, but do we have enough curators? Do we have enough writers, historians? You know, these are part of the puzzle that are missing. It's not enough. You know, we can do what we do, but if there's no one to write about this, you know, fully, and if we don't have enough curators, you know, to present these works the way they should be, then, you know, we're still lagging. So I can tell you here, I mean, in Ethiopia, I mean, there's not even a school where someone can go and learn how to be a curator. Even the art historians that we have, you know, they were somewhat very limited. You can count them with your fingers. So these are the critical part to change this, you know, to build on this. Without that, it's going to be tough.
So you're currently displaying only one artist's work in your art gallery. What is this about?
I met the artist, his name is Dman, and we met, I don't know, maybe a year or two ago, and we started talking. I saw his work, quite engaging, very different technique. It's not exactly painting in the traditional way. He actually airbrushes his ideas. So it was a very powerful story. It's about displacement, migration, and it's a very tough subject. The subject is something that a lot of people on the continent, especially here in Ethiopia or, you know, Sudan, Eritrea, and whatnot, are forced to deal with. So I thought, okay, you know, this is a work that's very important. The idea behind it speaks about the time that we're living in. So myself and you know, the team in London, we talked about it and we said, you know what, we need to show this. Now, are these tough pieces, the way they're done, are they maybe dark, you know, for some people? But the subject was so important and so current that we felt like, you know what, even if we don't have a lot of people coming here to buy these works, we should show them. It's important that we do. So the gallery does that. You know, we sometimes, you know, present works that locally might be a bit challenging for the local audience, but they need to see. You know, we can't just play safe all the time. So Nahom did these amazing pieces with a very unique technique. You'll be talking to him, so he can share with you all that. But personally, we felt like this is the exhibition that we have to do at this time. We showing only nine pieces. It's not a lot of works, but each and every one of them are so powerful. We didn't need any more. These were enough works to speak about the subject so really well. Yes, a lot of people came here and they were taken aback. It's like, wow, this is a little bit too much for me. But at least we're getting some reaction rather than no reaction, and happy to have shown this.
Masai Halilul, thank you very much for your inspiration on African artworks.
Yeah, and thank you for coming and taking your time to do this. Thank you so much.
The influence of African art is growing across the world. We are now going to be speaking to the incredible artist behind the artworks displayed here. Nahum, thank you very much for talking to us. Can you first start by telling me about your journey as an artist and how you developed this unique airbrush technique?
Thank you for having me on your show. Just as an artist, I was like not a social child. Instead of playing with kids outside, I prefer to spend my time having a piece of paper and pencil color. I still remember how much I do love painting and coloring cartoon characters. So I think that makes me, I fall in love at my early age. So, and just sometimes you need an initial point for your careers, and you start to believe that the right time that you have to invest fully, in your practice. The time was like in 2013 when I first get an opportunity to present my work in a competition presented by European Union. It was my first art competition to participate, it was my first major art competition also. Not only that, as well, it was my first showcase. I was won the first prize. So even I'm not kind of like, I was new to the art community back then. So the artists started to urge me I should do and produce more. So since then I never stopped doing art because I start to believe like this is the right time for me just to be a fully immersed and the artist.
And I'm looking at your art and it's mainly talking about migration. Tell me about what inspired you to focus on migration.
If you are from a country, people have suffered for the last 20 years due to wars and other scenarios and challenges, and they forced to flee their country with these difficulties. And if you are part of it, you should speak about it. You should have to address the problems, because as an artist, every artist has a story to tell, and I have mine, and I have a genuine connection. I need to have a genuine connection to my arts because this is also my story. And as a refugee, I need to tell the story of how I get here, what's the problem of me to be a refugee. And also, I need a voice. I need to speak on behalf of those who are unable to raise their voice, even including mine. So I'm not good with my reading or my speaking. My talent is visually. So I need to show the world what the challenges every refugee, including me, I'm facing.
I see a lot of your artwork is on very large canvases. How did you begin that process of creating large canvases?
Once you get the idea what your next project is going to look like, what I do is just sketch it out on my sketchbook. Then as you see, the paintings look like these digital collages. So in order to achieve that, I have to go to photos, and sometimes I took it myself, or sometimes I go through the internet and download it, and then I take the pieces that interest me, that I believe that they can describe or present my characters. So then I go to, I use a software, and the trimmed, just the trimmed part, so I juxtaposition them in the position that I interested, or the position that I need the work to build. So after I finished photoshopping, and then I project it into my canvas and sketch it. At the end, I use airbrush to finish it.
There is a lot of immigration across the continent, a lot of people going, across the Mediterranean Sea, trying to get away from some of the countries. When they look at your artwork, what sort of impact does it have?
It's not only make an impact, because I need also to show those who know any knowledge about, they have no any knowledge about what's going on, or they ignore what is being in exile means. Because every refugees is not left their country with their consent, because the problem is what makes them to flee their country. So I think we already living in that misery as a refugees, but I need to tell those who don't want us, or they see us as a alienated people. So I think the impact I need to hear is like, we are not here by choice, we are here by force. So I need to tell them, like, be more welcoming, and we don't hate our country. We are here because of the difficulty that we are facing.
Nahum, thank you very much for talking to us.
I'm thrilled to introduce our next guest, Tadesse Mesin. He's a pioneering figure in Ethiopian modern art with a career that spans 50 years. Tadesse has not only shaped the local art scene with his incredible figurative paintings, but he has also nurtured generations of artists through his teaching. His latest works bring attention to the market women of Ethiopia, showcasing their strength and importance in society. Let's now dive into the conversation with this remarkable artist. Tadesse, thank you very much for giving us your time. I want to first start by you telling me about your artistic journey. How did it all begin?
I started drawing from my childhood, as far as I know, from 6 years old. I was scratching with a piece of stick on my skin and making a white line, and I was drawing on my body. And then finally, I came to Addis with my uncle to the capital city. And even at the school years, when I was in elementary and secondary schools, I was always drawing, And I was almost, you can say that they knew me that I was an artist. I mean, I was making drawings and paintings. And finally, I entered the Prince Bedamariam University Laboratory School, which was one of the best schools at the time of Haile Selassie. And I joined the art school at the age of 16 after completing 9th grade, and I studied for 5 years and graduated with great distinction from the Addis Fine, specializing in painting. I was awarded by the Emperor Haile Selassie the Golden Watch. And then after that, I started working at the National Theater At the time it was Haile Selassie First Theater. Now it is a national theater. I worked as a stage and costume designer for 5 years. And after that, I got a scholarship. And first we went to what we call it now, Ukraine, Dansk. We studied 1 year language, and then I was sent to St. Petersburg Academy of Rapin, one of the best academies and the oldest academy of painting, sculpture, and architecture. I studied there for 5 years, and I graduated with honor. And after that, I came back to Ethiopia. And then after I came back, I tried to find myself. I studied the Coptic and Ethiopian tradition, and finally I started studying Ethiopian African masks. And through that, and I started studying Picasso.
Yeah, because that's what I was going to ask you. What's been your inspiration? Because you've been doing this since you were 6 years old, over 50 years of art.
60 years old, almost. I'm 17, yes.
Yeah, so what's been your inspiration through all this?
My inspiration, the first thing is I like figure, by human being, you know. And my drawings were one of the best drawings I was doing. Even the Russians were very much surprised that I can do as good as their best students, you know. Even at the art school, my mark was 100 out of 100 drawing. And then I like drawing figures, especially the African women, as you see on most of my paintings. So I mostly think that a human figure is the most dynamic thing that you can never get rid of it, you know, because the whole history of artifice, it is a history of human figure, the history of human painting, you know, starting from cave painting. It is the modern times that, but it is coming back, you know. Nowadays, the figure is coming back again, you know, because it goes and comes.
So when you look at your painting, because I'm seeing in your studio you have a lot of market women that you're alluding to, has your artwork remained the same, or do you have other features, other focuses over the years?
You can say throughout my career, the market was my my basic means of expression. I lived in Addis, you know, when I was 6 years old. I was in the center of the city, Piazza, what they call it. And Mercato, you know, the market, the central, one of the biggest open-air market in Africa is Mercato. You probably have heard about that. And then we used to go there all the time. And then these women were sitting there. They were the source of inspiration for us. You know, they are colorful. The market, you see, everything comes to the market: animals, things, fruits, and everything, whatever. And then different people come to there: soldiers and priests. Farmers and everybody. It is a collection of a museum of people, you know, this market, you know, colorful and full of movement. So it is endless, especially African market. Wherever you go to in Africa, I think the only place that you will be delighted to visit is market.
I want to go back, you know, over the years. You know, you're talking about painting now for almost 60 years. If you were to pick out one piece that has stood out for you in all of your work, which one would it be?
Unfortunately, they are sold. I had, of course, a lot of works, but one of the best works is my graduation work, which I didn't want to sell. And I was asked by the American embassy at the Addis Ababa. They wanted to buy it and put it inside there. So I refused because I just wanted to keep it. That is one of my masterpieces, which is, academically, it is a finished work of art. It is more monumental and epic work and full of academical skills. I think it will be good for students to look at it and to learn how not only making a painting, but how to make a group work, you know. Group composition. Group composition is very difficult because either the painting will be divided into pieces, it will be one figure will be against the other one. There should not be probably one composition center, but that center should have a visual coherence with the rest of the figures, you know. It is very difficult, you know, multi-figure composition. That's what I learned in Russia from the works of Repin and Sikeras, you know. And Surikov, another great painter of the the old Russian school, you know.
So when you look at how African art has evolved, where do you place African art?
It's one of the greatest works of art in the world, just like the European Renaissance or modern art. But African art, as I told you, was a source of abstractism, because Africans didn't copy nature. They tried to create their own feeling about nature, you know. It's not realistic. It is the exact way that Picasso found it is exactly the Africans who are really depicting art of art, because they are not copying nature. Art is not a copy of nature. It is an interpretation of nature. So the Africans have got a magic to interpret the reality into the work of art, you know. So it is beautiful, it is simple and beautiful. At the same time, it is dynamic, you know, African art. So we can learn a lot from it, you know.
So you've been exhibited around the world in many galleries. Would you say that there is a lot more acceptance now of Ethiopian art, of African art? Would you say the reception of African art has changed over the years that you've been an artist?
Of course, African art, as I told you, African artists are working day and night and they are producing a lot of art, but they are not exposed. We are locked here inside, for example, inside Ethiopia, but nobody knows us. We are not exposed. It's only recently that the galleries are coming and opening and exhibiting our works. Within a short period of time, we have got an exposure, you know. That was what we didn't have before.
And I want to ask you one final question. What would you like to see when it comes to African art, when it comes to Ethiopian art? The vision that you had at the very beginning of your career, have you seen that fulfilled? And what do you want to see from upcoming artists?
We didn't achieve what we should do, what we should have been achieving. Because, as I told you, that most of the artists are, in order to survive, are selling their paintings. So they are concentrating on selling their paintings. They are doing more or less commercial works like that, you know. But I wish that we had a big national museum where new and opening or pioneering works of art to be in the galleries, so that our students will go there and not repeat things again and again. When one artist is selling his paintings, others come and do the same thing like that because they think that they can sell it. Africa is so rich in tradition, in material. It might be even a lot of found objects. So I think as an artist, it is really a very challenging thing to be more successful, you know, because a lot of things are already done, you know. If you do it again and again, it will be a repetition. So it's very difficult, but I think the idea had to remain with an artist to break through, you know, and to come out as a great artist.
But you've done amazing work, Tadesse. But thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy.
Thank you. And that's all we have time for on this edition of Talk Africa. A big thank you to our guests, Mesai Hailelul, co-founder of Addis Fine Art, Nahum Taklehaimanot, and Tadesse Mesin. Remember, you can be a part of this conversation through our social media platforms on Facebook and X. And you can watch this and other editions of Talk Africa on our YouTube playlist. Do join us again next week for more Talk Africa. From me, Beatrice Marshall in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, it's goodbye for now.